Party Poker Premier League Poker 5 continues here in Vienna. With over $2 million in the prize pool and the most formidable players in the business, this is guaranteed to be the greatest season yet.
Cards are going to be flying off the table soon.
They're going to go nuts when they see this.
You could have outplayed me there.
I heard I'm not supposed to make friends.
Just have no blinds here, just take them.
This is the first time I've ever heard Tom Dwan be excited about the chance of folding.
I want to fold, but I just felt like I couldn't.
That's the way to do it.
Hey, it's really hard to fold the hand this good when you're eating chicken this delicious.
I'm basically out of the Premier League, down to my last animals.
I had the G on the ropes there, and you've just told me you had the nuts.
It's driving me crazy.
I got to deal with the stare down just to steal a freaking blind.
Ace King, you're good. You're good. You've got the best hand, whatever happens.
Oh, God, come on.
I mean, what the hell?
This is a standard fold. Phil has lost his mind.
I'm not getting any respect.
No, I'm going to be moving in every hand.
We understand that you're not very good, but you're a nice guy.
Elke, I feel people have been very rude at this table so far at this heat.
You are the best, Ondrej.
It's back time.
Can you shut up for a bit? Because I'm actually thinking.
Who knows what I think sometimes?
Curiosity's killing me.
Real nice.
Come on, let's see the river.
If you have aces right now, I'll never talk to you again.
Wow.
I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home.
I'm so angry at myself right now.
Shut him up.
Pair? Good news. Do you want to swap hands?
Zasko smelled the rat.
I'm not going to listen to Tony anyway. He clearly has no idea what he's doing.
That's pretty cool.
Ooh. Oh, sweat. Yeah! What would you do here then, Tony?
Come on, let's go! Yeah! Everyone's a winner.
Before the main event kicks off, we start with the global qualifier events, where 2 places in this season's Premier League are up for grabs. There are 2 global qualifying events, each made up of 12 players from around the world. The qualifiers were divided into 2 groups of 6. The groups play 1 heat with the top 3 players going through to the final table. The last man standing on each global qualifier final table wins a place in the Premier League main event. The first qualifying event saw English online qualifier Matthew Franklin win his way into the $2.2 million prize pool alongside Poker's Elite. Now the second global qualifying event is underway, and it'll determine who will take that last spot in this year's lineup. Last time out, it was Group A playing it out.
Rack 'em up. Event 2 global qualifier for Premier League Poker 5, ready to rock and roll. He's up for the challenge. It's a cool and cold flip.
Ben is left with 9,000.
What's my odds to take it down now?
Down to 2 out for Ben.
Now.
Boom. And down to 5 now.
I'm not.
Here we see it, and Bruno's just like, nothing has gone right for me. This is just a race where he's starting off farther behind.
Yeah, that's it for Bruno. Unlucky.
4 for 3 spots. A classic super satellite scenario, Giovanni.
I call.
It's 2 cards for 3 kings. Amir Muslimi has given it one exciting ride that I will never forget.
It's a deserving trio here.
It's pretty exciting, and of course, these 3 are going to be joined in the final by the 3 players coming through from Heat B.
Now Group B take their seats. The players include Xuan Liu, Steve Ondrej, Ondrej Vinklarek, Benjamin Wilinofsky, Griffin Benger, and Florian Strasser. It's the first time we've seen Ben here for the Premier League. It's a very particular format, so what are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited for it. I think it's really cool and it's completely unique on the poker circuit. We don't get to play a lot of 6-handed poker. We don't get to play a lot of shootout style poker. So I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And considering it's a qualifying heat, this is a pretty tough lineup. You're up against some great players, and you yourself, I mean, absolutely crushing online. So give me your thoughts on the other players.
Ondrej Vinklarek and Griffin Benger are both online killers. If you watch a lot of TV poker, you probably haven't heard about them, but I know they're really dangerous. Xuan Liu and Steve Ondrej have both been killing it over the past year, and there's one player that we don't know anything about. So it's a really tough heat, but it's going to be really fun and interesting and exciting.
Good luck out there.
Thanks a lot, Kat.
Are you excited to play this lineup?
Oh, definitely. There's lots of really sick players here, and lots of even sicker players if I actually make it to the actual tournament with all some of the best players in the world. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to play my best.
Oh yeah, that's why I never play peg, because everyone folds to 3-bets and you don't get to have any fun.
That sucks.
Shh, they don't know.
Are you jamming anyway?
I really want to win this one. I really want to win this one. I'll be honest with you.
You should have only said it once.
One time.
And now it's time to see who will join our 3 finalists to play for a seat in the main event. Over to your commentators, Jessie May and Giovanni Rizzo.
This heat, Giovanni Rizzo, has the star power of the main Premier League itself, especially if you're a bit of an online geek, if you follow what goes on. We're looking here at Xuan, who not only has some big online results, but now a lot of big live results, 4th in the PCA, which was a huge thing this past year.
Final table San Remo. She's part of this crew of young guns that just travel the circular a lot. She's been on the road for quite a while. I think she's peaking in her career right now. She's picking up results. And speaking of picking up results, this is Steve O'Dwyer right here, and he's got an amazing run lately.
Yeah, he's been playing in every tournament in Europe, living out of his suitcase, based in Ireland now, and just took his first title in Europe, which was the WPT Denmark. But when you talk about star power, I mean, the 3 online qualifiers could be 3 of the biggest names in online poker. Ben Wilinofsky, Griffin, Benger, and Ondrej Vinklarek.
Yeah, this is, online poker geek wonderland. For me, to be commentating this is great. I think Ben Wilinofsky, Never Scared B, is probably, top 10 in the world for online tournament wins. And, there's a funny story about Ben. He played like 30 events straight live without cashing. And then, boom, big win, 1 million. I mean, the guy's a beast. He's not going to go for second place. It's going to be like, I don't know, a fast one for sure. It's not going to slow down.
So a real treat. This Florian Strasser, who's a local Austrian player, quite well known on the scene. But Ondrej Vinklarek, who's known as Vinky online, currently leading the EPT leaderboard throughout Europe, mostly for playing a lot of side events and that kind of stuff. But he's got an amazing record these days. And next to him there, Griffin Benger, who I believe is #1 in the world right now, ranked for multi-table tournaments online. And believe me, there's not one of these who is going to get into that Premier League and think, oh, I'm in trouble here.
Oh,
they're going to fancy it.
Oh, no, yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. And in a way, for the kind of format that is, I think that actually people that qualify to the Premier League are probably favorites.
We got first flop, first 3-way flop, and it's an action flop. Vinky has...
Ace high.
Oh, sorry. Maybe it's not an action flop. Benger with the flush draw.
Hey, you never know with these guys, Jesse. Don't worry. I mean, it could have been an action flop. Any flop's an action flop with these guys.
Leading out with the flush draw, taking it down. There are some players, of course, Giovanni, who like to 3-bet no matter what stage the tournament is in. It'd be fun to see, who's going to have that mindset here tonight.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting. You're right. Some of them do start to 3-bet really, really early, starting level 1.
My guess is that a lot of these players sort of have history with each other. I know Steve O'Dwyer and Xuan travel in similar circles, play a lot of the same tournaments, so they, I'm sure, have played together. I wonder about the online guys. They have to have run into each other.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely have a history. They played tons of tournaments together. They know their playing style. And that will, have to be taken into account when we analyze the way that hands come down, because a lot of times we've seen players that rarely play together. These guys have literally hundreds of thousands of games played together. They have their, hand review in their heads. They know, they have the log. It's like they have a hold'em manager in their head that's working right now. It's already adjusting ranges. It's like a little robot stuff.
Well, this is the first inflection point of the tournament. Xuan opened up. Griffin Benger 3-bet from the button, and Wilinofsky picking up the ace-10 in the small blind. He decided to pass it, but only after consideration, and he would have been right. He would have been right.
And you see the instance right there. To even think about 4-betting ace-10 at level 1 of a tournament, it's crazy already. This is how good these guys are. And Xuan is thinking here. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, these players have not come in from the cold.
Oh, wow.
And I guess you could say, Giovanni, that you shouldn't be opening with the Jack-9 offsuit unless you're prepared in this field, unless you're prepared to take it to the 4-bet level.
This is every player's dream to see a table like that. This is like a coaching session, a peek into the mind of the real great online players. And you can see this. It doesn't matter what they're holding. They have a plan in mind. It's very clear. The 4-bet from Xuan Lu here, it's pretty impressive. She must have picked up something, you know, maybe some tell or just tendency, just betting patterns. Free bet on the button, pretty suspicious. She opened from under the gun. She can represent the big hand, and she did that with a 4-bet and take it down. So really nice hand here.
Great play, and I often find that it's setting the tone. You know, tell the players you're not going to be pushed around. Xuan Lu, first time they tried to teach her a lesson, and she taught them one back. Nominal chip leader right now, Xuan Lu, but it's less than 3% above her starting stack.
I'd be disappointed.
They're just feeling each other out right now.
Players all recognize that it's more important not to lose a whole load early on than to gain a few.
And also, just as a reminder for people watching, when these guys will take their stacks to the final table, the blind will be rolled back to 3-6. So even if they end up with like 12, 15 big blinds, something like 350, 400K, that will be plenty to play with at the final table. So they're all aware of the importance of squeezing in there.
Vinky had an option from the button to call or re-raise. He's chosen to flat with the pocket pair.
I like that at the beginning of the game because you don't want to be blown out of the pot. You want to try to make a big hand right away. And
on this kind of flop,
yeah,
you can't fold, can you?
No, you can't. And that's the other thing. If you flat, the pot doesn't explode. You're allowed to peel one off, reevaluate turn. You know, it makes for a lot more room to play. Definitely a flat with the 7s.
In some ways, the turn card will be where this hand begins. Yeah. Does Strasser want a double barrel?
I don't think so. That's a bad card for his hand, in a way. I mean, unless he's planning to triple barrel, and I don't see that happening. He knows that Vinky there is peeling with any pair, so it could be a triple barrel.
5-bet, 14.
Just over half pot bet. And the best hand has taken it down.
Yep.
Vinklarek, the strong and silent type is my guess.
Yeah, it seems like. Very focused.
Yeah, it's like a points system, I guess. I don't know. That's going to win it. How does the EPT Player of the Year work?
Of course,
How does the EPT Player of the
Vinky
Year
is
work?
from
You get a lot of
Czechoslovakia,
points
and
for you'll get
with the
points,
performance of in the World Series of Poker final table this year of the gentleman who got second place. And his name deserts me for a moment, but Czechoslovakian and Prague poker Czech poker has really come to the fore.
Well, in general, I think Eastern European poker is growing as a poker school in general. You know, Russians are doing amazingly well. Ukrainians are doing really well. Czech players too. It's a whole new school, and they have an interesting style. We've seen other Eastern European players so far, and they all have kind of a different approach. It's interesting to see. This is interesting to see.
Well, it's been opened by Vinky. Xuan Lu has flatted on the button with 5s, and Ondrej has chosen to flat from the small blind with queens. He may get a chance to put a lot more money in this pot if Benger raises.
And now see, this is exactly what Steve wanted here. He knows that Benger is very prone to squeezing. He's played so many times. Thing is, Benger does have a hand. So all sorts of metagame developing right now. It could be that these guys are getting it in here. I'm telling you, even if it's the first level.
Right. I mean, is Ondrej, does he have to 4-bet right now?
Yeah, it looks so squeezy from Benger. I think they're getting it in. For as crazy as it is, I think they're getting it in. They are. The dynamic is so weird. There it is. There it is. I would make it small too. I want to be shoved here.
But for Benger right now, how polarized is Ondrej's range?
100%.
I mean, how good is Ace King?
The Ace King in this spot is amazing. It's a shove. It's a shove. I'm shoving 100% of the time there.
I mean, isn't there a problem from Benger's point of view right now, which is that if he shoves, he knows he's only getting called by queens, kings, and aces. He's only in great, or maybe the other ace king. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but then again, he's got fold equity for some stuff, because now Ondrej, if he's got 6s or 7, what is he going to do? He's going to make it small. Look, 100. No, flat.
Well, this pot's big. 150,000. Benger's in position. And does Ondrej know that he wants to avoid the big cards from the board?
Ouch. Ouch. This is big trouble for Ondrej. This is a really tough spot. I think I'm maybe bet folding and sometimes bet calling.
Benger's sticking his chips in no matter what at this stage.
Yes, for sure.
Are you shuffling Ben's chips?
No, I'm not. I just brought them over. Sorry.
That was strange. I thought you had made the call with Ben's chips.
They both basically have the same number of chips back, which is approximately 220,000.
You know what Steve is thinking right here?
He's got to put him on a hand.
Yeah, I think Steve is worried that Benger flatted aces, kings. Something like that. I don't think he's really scared of the ace king. I think it's a strange hand right here. It's probably a bet fold. Make it small. And
He's put in just about, I think, about 40% pot bet.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think that Benger is shoving, by the way. I think he's just calling. I don't see any merit in shoving here. Yeah.
At this stage, both these players look a little bit worried.
Yeah.
And for Ondrej, it feels like he's going to have to check, whether he check calls or check folds. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're behind, you want to let your opponent make a mistake and you know, induce by checking, and he's not going to fold anything.
All in.
Wow.
It's gone all in.
It's so sick.
Now, Benger has to...
he feels the aces out there. He's not folding, but... Wow, that's so sick.
You're good.
Two cards.
Ondrej went for the all-in. And he knew as soon as he got called, he knew he was in trouble.
Yeah. Such a weird hand. I feel for the guy.
And for Griffin Benger, unless the queen comes, it hasn't. It's been a very, very quick
Must have me covered, right?
heat here for Steve Ondrej.
Wow, that is pretty sick.
Good luck, you guys.
Thanks, Steve. Nice to see you.
Benger takes him down, and one of the hottest players in Europe off the table at the hands of the #1 multi-tournament player in the world online.
Yeah, it's the only hand that was played.
We've lost Steve from our table here, and that last hand, there was a particular dynamic in terms of why you played it the way you did. Do you want to go through that with us?
Yeah, well, I was kind of in the middle of telling a story as the action came around to me, and I had queens, and I'd been tight so far, hadn't made any 3-bets, and decided that the best way for me to play it would just be a flat. I think I'd scare them away too much, especially with the way the structure's set up. I think my first 3-bet, no one was likely to play a big pot against me, so I decided to just call and hope that Griffin would do something out of line in the big blind. It turns out he just had ace king, but I still like the way I played it. I think I have to try to get as much value as I can out of the smaller pairs that he has in that spot. It's just unfortunate for me that he had ace king.
Well, we're sorry to see you go. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem.
This is the prelude to the main event, and the 14 Premier League players are starting to arrive and are all eager to get the biggest tournament in poker underway.
I can't stay in LA because then I miss out on the opportunity of the heartbeats, the scary bluffs and all that stuff. I had to be here for it.
It's the most prestigious event to get invited to in the world.
This is going to be the strongest lineup they've ever had.
I don't really know what to expect.
I just want to get in there and do it.
Only one more global qualifier will have a chance to win through to the main event. The action continues after the break.
Welcome back to Premier League Poker 5. Global qualifiers are battling it out for a place in the Premier League lineup. Only 3 players get a chance to advance to the next stage. Let's head back over to your commentators.
I don't know if
Well, Giovanni, this is the 4th heat we've played in these global qualifying stages of the Premier League Poker. The earliest now we've ever lost a player after 13 hands.
Exactly like that.
Big hand here, ace king for.
Yeah, and he's opened a couple of pots. I think he's opened or played, 3 or 4. He's had hands, but played 3 or 4 of the last 6 or 7 hands. So, the way Xuan is, I don't know. Are you going to be surprised to see her 3-betting with anything?
No, and 10 jack of hearts is definitely in her range of 3-bet. This time just a flat. And see again, she's in early position now. She's 3-betting her buttons and cutoff as you should, and kind of playing it safer from the earlier positions. So flawless play, really. I mean.
Yeah, and also recognizing, I'm guessing, that Vinklarek's range should be a lot narrower from under the gun after he's raised a few pots.
Absolutely, his image is not nice. He's got to have a hand here. And I think Vinky's giving this up already. It's not a pretty board for ace king.
Yeah, he just slid the flop. You do get the feeling that when they check, she bets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Definitely.
She must be a great candidate for a check raise, as far as reliability goes. Not that it's going to work, but as far as, the opportunity to check raise, I think
he's floating here. An interesting hand again. Oh, wow. And this is definitely a second barrel for Liu. She picks up a straight draw now, 2 overs, and Vinklarek's range should be pretty weak here, maybe.
I guess he's trying to figure out what he could have called with on the flop that he could still call with. I mean, could he have something like 2 5s? Could he have ace 4? But, she may be thinking, well, if he had something as weak as ace 4, ace 6, he wouldn't have raised in the first place.
Right, and she can probably, oh, okay, now she can't. But, yeah, whatever peeled the flop should get a little better with the 9. Something like 5, 7 now have a gut shot or a up and down straight draw, so it's not folding on the turn. And I like the check by Vinklarek here. Now he's inducing a bluff from Liu, and just in case she hits 2 pair there with some kind of ace 4 suited, ace 6 suited, he's gonna lose the minimum. So
she's falling for it.
Yep.
You can't blame her, but he's got her. The only decision now whether to call or raise, probably calling in your mind.
Yeah, just calling for sure. There's no value in raising here. You only get called by better. It's an easy check call. It's very important you notice that in that spot you lead out doesn't make a lot of sense. So, oh wow, maybe he is raising.
Yeah, you would have called.
I'm just calling for sure.
Wow. This is much more of a high variance type of play, isn't it?
Wow.
Or I mean, you could say it doesn't. To you, it doesn't make much sense, really.
But what do I know?
You've got to be putting her. You can only really get called here by ace queen, ace jack, ace 10 or something.
That
where
is so
that
strange.
you beat.
He made it 30K too. It was like a click raise kind of thing.
Show deuce. Somehow.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. Interesting play for sure.
I mean, it also could be just one of those plays where he's made it so he doesn't, number one, doesn't have to show, and also, number two, showing her that she better be careful when he checks to her on the river in the future.
Actually, you know what? I think you just pointed out the exact reason why he did that. He thought she was weak and did not want to show how he played the ace-king here.
Now I'm confused.
Level.
This is power of chips right now. Under the gun, king 3 suited, Griffin, Benger. Feel my power, as Tony G would say.
And
oh, excuse me, he limped in. Well, feel that power. It's not much power at all.
interesting play again. They're all really creative players.
I mean, give me a reason for why Benger would do this. Is it to set something up later? Is it
It's hard to figure this guys out. I mean, it's very unconventional.
You know, when you do limp in like that, you open yourself up that you may be playing a big pot post-flop, and this is an action flop, in a sense, you know.
No, absolutely. And I mean, with Xuan in a limp pot, yeah, it is a raise, absolutely. 8-3 deuce, not much that Benger should be able to represent.
She just doesn't like to be a caller, does she? She wants to lead.
Absolutely.
And does she barrel here if she misses?
For sure, 100%. But now, see, this was the plan for Benger. Just hit trips and have Liu just fire at you every single time.
Is that recognizable as a bad card for her hand?
Not really. What kind of free should Benger have here? I mean, besides the ace free suited, sometimes his hand is pretty random in this spot. Again, I don't think Benger should raise here, because then I guess he polarizes himself a little bit, but it would look like a set, so she's drawing dead, and I don't know, he might want to give her some rope.
Even recognizing that a lot of her hands right now are draws, he still is going to take the chance.
Sure.
Because he can get another bet out of her this way.
Mathematically is absolutely correct. We can see, oh wow, and that's a beautiful card for Benger's hand. What do I know? You know, just limp it in and make it tough on Xuan. She's going to value bet this 100% of the time.
Right. She's not going to be check calling.
Oh, no.
She loves that card.
I think she does.
She thinks she's got the winner.
It looks like Benger has something like 5s or 6s, or maybe the 8-9 suited or something like that. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And she's gonna make it big. She's gonna make it really big. Yeah, the king is a beautiful card for her.
As big as she's making it right now, when he raises, the alarm bells are gonna go off in a pretty serious fashion.
Absolutely. She makes it so big for another reason. If the guy raises me here, he's got the mortal nuts, so it's going to be an easy fold. Yep.
Exactly what he's done. And you could say to yourself, if you're Xuan right now, and you should, this would be a pretty sick bluff.
Yeah. No, when you make it so big and you get raised on the river, it really looks like Benger here, slow played. Deuces, maybe. I mean, the king free is obviously not in Xuan's head right now, but it could be 8s, deuces easily. But you know, these guys, you're always guessing, and yeah, she's calling. She's calling.
She's calling. She's exhaling. And Griffin Benger will be raking.
Wow, big pot.
How do you get paid? He's done it twice, and his stack right now, this almost looks like a coronation.
723,000, Jesse.
For Xuan Liu, she plays a very aggressive, high-variance game, and that time she's on the wrong end of the stick.
I think I've got a new goal for
there
this
you go,
year.
blinds up, 2,000, 4,000.
Get everybody in the money.
You know, if you had to make a guess, if the question was, does Xuan Liu have another gear, the tight gear? My guess is no.
No.
No. That's no. I'm not making any sort of, judgment on her game. Her results speak for themselves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But there is a certain type of player who doesn't know the other gear, and well, it's up to, I mean, if Xuan's got it, let's see it, you know?
What I say is, you know, my keyboard didn't come with the fold button. And now Vinky with the deuces. Again, let's see if he goes for a flat, or the fact that now we're playing 2-4 gives him room to free bet. Or a fold, right there.
And give me a couple reasons for that. I mean,
well, first of all, he's out of position, so he thinks that even if he set mines, it's gonna be tough to extract value from Ben. Oh, and Xuan goes for the call. Yeah, so being out of position, I don't know. They are pretty deep, both of them. Still, I don't know. And this is gonna be interesting for Xuan right here.
Well, this is. For her, this is a huge
Up and down straight draw, you're kidding me?
But, you know,
I got overs on deuces and stuff.
No, I mean, but, you know, these are the kind of spots where her aggression should work out quite well.
Definitely.
You know, and do you foresee the same kind of thing she did with the King 5 suited, which was, you know, the check raise, the barrel?
This is a textured board, so it should hit Ben's range pretty well. Although, I mean, she's so aggressive and on the short stack, she might want to gamble. But see, now, this is a texture board. That's what I thought. It's going to be hard to put Ben off a hand. If he does have a hand, that's a pretty nice card for Xuan. And she's thinking, you know, if the guy doesn't have much, he's gonna think the same of my hand. It also hits my range, you know, the 10 jacks, the king jacks, the king queens. It's all in my range too. So it could go check on the turn easily, and then she can take it away if a blank hits, or, you know, actually make a hand.
So there is plenty of thinking nuances to her game.
Absolutely. No, it's never brutal aggression. You know, it comes 7 on the turn and 4 on the river. She is going to fire it, obviously, and it's going to be kind of a tough call for Ben. Now, here she's thinking, do I value bet this? Do I induce? And I'm pretty sure Ben is going to give up here.
There's just absolutely nothing he can beat.
No. Yeah, he did.
And very little she'll fold.
Yeah, absolutely. The line he took on the turn, the jack just hits every single hand in Xuan's range. The jack queens, the jack nines, the ace queens. I mean, ace queens probably actually for sure going to be free bet pre-flop, but.
Back in action, Xuan Liu, and back dragging a pot. She is the short stack, but she's not far away from the others.
Absolutely not. 50 big blinds is plenty to play. The game just started for her. She chipped up a little bit. 200 is pretty comfortable.
C4 raise 8,000.
Well, this is basically a very big hand for Xuan, and I mean, you say very big hand because of how active she's been. You know, it's so top of her range no matter what she does.
Again, question of perception. You know, the ace queen in Steve O'Dwyer's hand, it's one thing. In Xuan Liu's hand, it's another. It's a whole different story there.
And Wilinofsky here.
But she just called, right?
She just called, and I mean, I guess this has to do with their perception of Strasser, of Florian, who's raised this under the gun.
I agree.
But all kinds of fun things can happen right now.
And now, you know, this is a great flop for Strasser, actually, because he's got the lead and the only diamond on board. Nobody else hit. Ben might take one off with the 7s, but, you know, you are right. Strasser definitely is perceived as the tightest at the table, so I think he could just bet and take it down.
Right. It's a great flop for Strasser if it goes bet, fold, fold.
Yep. I think it might. I mean, even if Ben has the best hand, he doesn't have much equity in the hand because, you know, Strasser's got the hand that he actually has, or better, like the ace-jack with the ace of diamonds, the king-queen. There he goes.
And nothing improves Wilinofsky.
Exactly. So even if he thinks he's got the best hand right now, his equity in the pot is pretty bad.
Well, Florian allowed to slip that one through, and he'll be quite pleased about the way things are going. They're staying out of his way. He hasn't picked up much, and he's made it work.
Absolutely.
This table sort of alternating between being very chatty and sort of you can hear the waves rolling in the background.
Oh yeah, wheels are turning now. Their minds are at work, and now it's going to be all business. From next level, there's going to be no chit chat.
We know from having spent some time here in the Montesino Casino that the vibe, the buzz, it all picks up when these cash tables fill up late into the evening.
Yeah, it's quite the beautiful stage here at the Montesino.
Benger's just flatted Xuan's open. I mean, from the button, yeah.
I like that. You keep all the part of her range that you crush. You know, you don't make, and see, like, a flop like this, a player like Liu might double barrel, you know, and there's not much value in re-raising the ace-jack, unless you're going broke with it, and it doesn't make much sense at this point.
I guess Benger also knows, you know, she's 4-bet him once.
Yep.
You know, so this time he feels like he's going to have to do something.
Exactly. Exactly. Plus he's in position. It's a nice hand you play in position. A lot of potential. The ace-jack suited. So
and you know, obviously the cards cooperate sometime, but right now she has to feel like he's owning her.
Yeah.
Every time she puts a chip in the pot, he's there. She's never got anything. You know, it's no fun.
It is no fun. This is a tough card to double bear. I mean,
he can't fold the king anymore, right?
Exactly. The king queen, the king jack is, yeah, she's giving up. It's a really bad card for her. Some queen jacks, some clubs she can barrel. The ace is not that pretty. Now it will be interesting to see if Nick goes for value right here, but she seems so weak. It could be interesting to see a check. Again, his hand is so underrepresented. She might just go broke with any ace, so maybe that's what Benger's thinking. Make it half pot.
Yeah. I've always got it, and you don't, says Griffin Benger, and that's the way it's been so far. One-way traffic for this Canadian.
Again, once more, I'll repeat myself, a matter of perception. What is going through Xuan's head right now is, yeah, this guy is owning me every single hand, but he's got it. It's easy for us to see that at the table. See on her face that frustration. I understand that very well. No, you get free bet by the same guy, you get reshoved, you get floated, but hey, he's got it. He's got it, and sometimes it's just the way it is.
I don't go that far.
There's also the issue of, if you're at this table right now, you'd so much rather be Wilinofsky on the big stacks left than Xuan Liu, who basically has to act before him each time. She's got a challenge.
Yeah. Wilinofsky has a really kind of a good seat, you know, a controlling seat in a way.
There will come a time when the players will have to decide, obviously, how important it is to them to go through in the top three, and it'll be one of those inflection points where Benger makes a big re-raise pre-flop and kind of puts their stack to the test.
You're right, Jesse. It is going to happen pretty soon. Next level for sure.
Free bets 14,000.
These two having a bit of fun. Benger's never calling.
No, that's why. Yeah, there's nothing unethical because he's obviously folding there.
I thought you were going to do something there, and then we could pass them back and forth for the rest of the hand.
I know, but I didn't have anything. If I had any piece, we'll do that next time.
Okay. Well, now it's not fun. Now it sounds so staged.
Yeah, it's pretty staged. Well, we already talked about how we were going to do it.
Shh, they don't know.
Xuan Liu, the short stack, but you wouldn't know it to look at her. She is fine and determined, while Griffin Benger, Giovanni, everything going perfect for her.
We'll be back after the break for more action from this last global qualifying heat.
Welcome back, Jesse May, alongside Giovanni Rizzo, enthralled by the best online players in the world on this table. This is big hand here from Vinky.
Really big hand.
And he hasn't been so tight, so that
yeah, his perceived image is definitely not the one of a tight player right now. He's been quite active.
Played about 30 hands. I guess he's opened up 5 or 6. Definitely his average.
Nobody picking up a hand yet. Oh. 8's here for Ben, but just a flat call, I think. Yeah, out of position there. Oh, all right. Now that's trouble right there. No, it's not.
Wow.
Wow. Good instincts. Good instincts.
I mean, he just made that decision so quickly.
So quick,
Strasser.
yeah.
Because of the cards, it's great instincts. I mean, was there a reason to raise?
There definitely could have been. I mean, there's quite some in the pot already. You got a premium hand. Then again, these guys are so comfortable post-flop that they don't mind taking a flop, really.
And that's a
look at that
sick check by Vinky.
Now that's too bad. The king is too bad because now it really looks like he's got the he can easily represent that king. He had kings, but you know, something like ace king, king queen, checking it back makes sense.
So is the idea from Vinklarek that if you get all your money in, start getting a lot of money in on the flop with kings, you're in trouble. But by checking there, you can actually get some value from a lot of hands that, like right here.
Perfectly said. He can't add anything to that. That's all it is. He's
It's still not something a lot of people would do.
No, you're kind of puck controlling, also inducing. And now just the call would be nice, actually.
It's just so perfect. I mean,
the big problem is he knows they cannot have a king in a way, you know?
But when he overcalls here, he always has a king, doesn't he?
Yeah, kinda.
So,
or clubs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I thought he would.
That's the second time. I mean, but still very few people would have done that as well. But for you, it's standard.
It's pretty standard. I think it will go check, check, bet, fold on both spots. Yeah. Strasser may think about a block and bet here. Actually, no. It's just a check. Now, it's going to be interesting to see the size. Does he go for the value, because like small value, or does he just bomb it to make it look like he missed the flush draw? Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I thought he would.
Wow.
I thought he would.
Is that an over pot?
I thought he would.
He's decided that Vinklarek has no hand, or that he is ahead of Vinklarek here.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
Yep. I can tell you, for as wild and as dumb it may sound in some ways, I know that Wilinofsky was thinking exactly that.
Well, Strasser made it look easy, that fold there. Vinklarek, what an interesting hand.
Yeah.
I kind of admire how the others were able to manage not losing nearly anything.
Yeah. You know, for as standard this hand might have been at the beginning, it just develops in such a pretty way. You know what I mean? It's like the queens and the ace king. You know, if you talk about it in a nutshell, what happened? Oh, they got it in with queens versus ace king. It's like it's so standard, it's almost dumb. But the way they do it, the way they size it, the way they think about it, I'll tell you. I mean. I'm pretty positive that's exactly what Wilinofsky was thinking.
And what an example of how in different players' hands, that past hand with the kings, how in different players' hands the action can go so many different ways.
Who is that?
Meanwhile, Xuan's picked up a monster. If she doesn't get any action here, she may scream.
Oh, she's going to get action for sure.
It may not be the kind of action she wants. But Vinklarek, because she's been so active, should be playing these tens more aggressively than normal.
She's short. She's got like 35 big blinds. It's not a given, but 30 bigs with tens. It's pretty standard.
He should be thinking of getting it in.
Yeah, in a way.
And giving her a chance to... Wow, he's called. Is it a mistake?
No, it's not a mistake by any meaning. I mean, the thing is, if
give her a chance to shove the 3-bet small and give her a chance to shove light. No,
it depends if you want to go broke with the hand. I mean, maybe he thinks, you know, it's not necessarily the best hand here. So I'm kind of.
But don't you think all these guys are playing this almost more with that super satellite idea in mind, that I don't want to go broke here?
Yeah, in a way. In a way, yes. Again, this is going to be interesting. I mean, even though Xuan missed here, you know, doesn't mean much. She still got over in a gut shot, and just the fact that she's going to bomb it, and you just know that.
You're saying it's tough to try and keep pot small against Xuan Liu.
Kinda, yeah. What if she triple barrels this? What do you do with tens then? Because, see, that's the thing. If you don't want to go broke with them pre-flop, it means that, you know, you give her credit for a hand. Check, check, and boom, there's the king.
Wow, those kings have just been all over tonight, haven't they? This is the Cowboys game.
And now again, probably a check call by Vinklarek. Or a block bet.
Tell you what, if he block bets, she'll get the opportunity to do to him what he did to her, which is make one of those winky raises on the river.
Yep, I agree with you. Something like 12, make it 30, and not show my hand.
He likes this better because it gives her the opportunity to bluff, right?
Of course. And the king is, you know, such a good bluff card for her. He snaps, yeah, of course. of course. 17 call, pretty standard on the river, yeah.
Happy card on the river for Xuan Liu. Happy pot. They're all quite close. They are all quite close. Very nearly to the end of the second level for these players. And I like the way Benger's employed his stack. He hasn't been overt about it. He hasn't gone overboard, but he certainly is making it known that he's the boss here.
Absolutely. He keeps it afloat, just like jib-jabbing at the up pots, letting them go when they're showing a lot of resistance, you know, give them credit for hands, but...
In the last round, Xuan Liu's had ace-king, and now the queens. She's gotten a little action, but she must be saying to herself, if I don't get paid here, I quit.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. She deserves it.
Yeah.
She does deserve it.
You're right, Jesse.
Yeah, there you go, Florian. Give her a little action.
That's probably a flat, yeah.
Jack high flop would be service for the lady.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. It's going to be hard to get action on this one, though. We need a king here.
Do you bet because it's so fishy to check, or is it so fishy to check, but you have to check because you got four of a kind?
Yeah, exactly what you said. It's fishy whatever you do with this hand. For as crazy as it sounds, it kind of sucks you flop quads.
She's got a great poker face.
Yep. Make it small, I guess.
7,000.
Yeah. I mean, he might peel one off, but not Strasser. Yeah, not Strasser.
That sucks.
You knew that was coming, Jesse. It just... Come on.
It does.
Better than ace queen. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, there wasn't much movement in the chip stacks during the second level, but when you think about the hands that were out there,
so much
a lot
action.
Of opportunities for players to lose chips, and you kind of got to give everybody a bit of a thumbs up.
They're just good.
Yeah.
They're just that good.
Blinds now to 3 and 6,000. 3 out of these 5 remaining players will be going through to the final table, joining those who qualified from Heat A, Global Qualifier Event 2, to play for the remaining seat open in the Premier League Poker 5's main draw. Joining such luminaries in that group as Vanessa Selps, Timoshenko, Patrick Antonius. I could go on.
My second place finish is burning so bad right now.
Well, Xuan's picked up the aces.
Yep.
Vinklarek's open to a min raise here. Is it a question of how big the 3-bet is?
Yeah.
6 raise.
She doesn't have to be so deception because she does this so often with so many hands.
100%, yes. And yeah, she definitely should have made it small like she did, because you kind of want to give the guy the option to min 4-bet, but insta fold, I like that.
He's onto her.
Yep.
She's disappointed. She can't. I mean, you do feel for Xuan a little bit. She's basically, since she lost all her chips, she's gotten hit with the deck. She did everything she had to do to get action.
And her image is so right for that right now. It's just the guy's got 5 high and decide not to mess with you.
It's frustrating sometimes. You know what's going to happen. After having, in the last 12 hands, she got the ace-king twice,
kings.
the queens, the aces. No, she's going to get busy with like a 5-6 and just run into it.
Another big hand for Vinklarek.
It's actually because she's been so active, she's kind of forced to be a little tight right now.
Yep. She ruined her image, if possible, even more. But she had hands. It's not perceived that way by the table. So, yeah.
Well, Vinky's got 50 big blinds.
It's always going in.
It's always going in. I mean, he's going to always be trying to get it in.
Yes. And now see this from Benger. As we said, Vinklarek has been very active. Benger knows that, has a decent hand from the button and the cheap lead. That's a pretty standard free bet right there.
And is Wilinofsky supposed to? We saw him thinking before, you know.
I think we're going a little too far. I mean, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Wow.
He thought about it, I promise. I
The
promise.
second time Strasser's picked up jacks, and
It's different now, though. At 3-6 is different now. The value of hands change. And the dynamics. You see, if Ben Wilinofsky is thinking about that live 4-bet with 7-10, I mean, Strasser with jack here might feel like the nuts. Yep. There he goes. Yeah.
and this is a very solid
yeah.
4-bet. He's way ahead of both players' ranges here.
Yes. Most of the times, yes.
Now the question is, how committed is he, and how far ahead is he of Vinklarek's 5-bet range? If that's what happens, Vinklarek's going to have to be a little bit worried.
Yeah. He knows what all the stuff that we said. He knows. He knows that Benger might free bet light. He knows that Strasser is aware of that, and they're both aware of his table image. So I mean, plus ace king of diamonds is just pretty.
It's pretty. Now he knows he can get it in quite often in a flip, and he knows he can get it in, quite often against the same hand. How often does he get in against ace queen if he plays this hand to conclusion? How often, if he shoves, does Strasser pass? How many hands?
Oh wow!
I wonder. I mean, he's made that's a really, really strong opinion he's had, and my guess is that you have to have an opinion that you're never seeing ace queen in Strasser's hand. Is that possible?
I guess he's got a little smile, Strasser here. He feels that Benger passed a big hand there. I mean,
Not so bad.
Vinklarek
passed a big hand there.
I guess wow, it's
wow.
He'd only invested 12,000.
That must be the thought. He's feeling pretty comfortable about his game right now, and just thinks I'll get a better spot. Wow, I'm surprised here. Very surprised. Again, Strasser is probably the tightest one on the table. Cold 4-betting out of the big blind, and he knows there's almost no fold equity there. So, do you want to flip for it when you just put 12K in?
It's disciplined.
Wow.
It's disciplined in what many would see as a crapshoot format.
Looks like a big hand here. And these two have some history now. And see what I just said, the dynamics. This could get interesting.
Yeah, she's started to do this a lot.
Yep. Always had a hand, by the way, but little does Vinklarek know.
I mean, there is a question. Forget what Xuan has. Is ace-2 ahead of her raising range, and is it ahead of her re-raising range now? What would she be doing right now if she had the king-jack, the king-queen, that kind of stuff?
Same thing. So it's gonna be. You know what? Hitting the deuce there. I know it sounds dumb, but that's bad for Vinklarek. That's really bad. Now she's gonna make it small. Maybe actually she's not betting small.
She's got a fish on the hook.
Oh, she's not going. She never goes small. Actually, she's bombing it. 42. That's more than 2/3 of the pot. Wow.
We've seen all her hands, stuff like that. Realize that she's gotten this huge rush of cards. None of them got turned over. I mean, be Vinklarek right now.
It sucks to be Vinklarek. Yeah, look. Obviously, he's feeling with the deuce.
The only hand he's seen of hers is like the nothing, the king 5.
Yep. That's a pretty bad card. Actually, it's a good card for Vinklarek
because she knows it's a bad card for her if she's got nothing.
Exactly. I can see a check shove here.
She only has a pot-sized bet.
Exactly.
Back.
Exactly.
He doesn't have that many chips more. Wow.
I mean, maybe she's just shoving it. Board is not too. Yeah, she's shoving it. It's not too pretty. I like the shove. I like the shove. Again, really polarizing. She's got him to guess with a pair of deuces for a pot-sized bet of 150K, and he's agonizing right now, Jesse. I'm telling you, he's agonizing. He wants to be the hero right here.
There are very few players who can create this image.
Yeah.
He's guessing with the bottom pair for all his chips, and he's made the correct laydown. but he was probably pretty darn close, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Join us after the break as this second global qualifier event continues. Welcome back to Party Poker Premier League Poker 5. The second global qualifier is currently in action, and only the top 3 players will progress through to the final for a chance to win a spot in the Premier League lineup. Let's see how it's going with your host, Jessie May.
It's funny, even though Vienna is such a center of poker these days, you can see by the vibrancy here, a lot of the Europeans don't spend as much time here as they used to and are so surprised not only by the poker action, but by how great a city this is. Fun food, beautiful city. Vienna's almost like a little gem these days, you know?
I would remove the almost from that phrase. Vienna definitely is a gem. Great food, fun, just beautiful city, you know, just walking out here. The Montesino has this beautiful balcony. They made a nice job with the little bar outside and everything. Just should be in a casino, but with the view of Vienna outside,
that's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, Benger's opened this. This is a sort of been a similar pattern here. I think this may be the 3rd time that Benger is opened under the gun and Wilinofsky has 3-bet next to speak. He's done it with ace-7, I think, and then ace-queen, and now ace-king.
And you know what? Vinky is very aware of that. This might sound crazy, but I could see a shove. Yeah, it's coming.
It's just happened too many times.
Yes. Betting pattern is the name of the game, and the way dynamics are flowing right now, it's very liquid, you know, in a way. It's like
right, and let's also remember that every time Benger has opened under the gun, he's never called a 3-bet. So you have to discount. You really discount his range here, right? I mean,
he makes it small. That's so sick. He min 4 bets.
But that's to induce a shove.
I mean, yeah, he's calling. If he puts like 60 in, he's calling. Obviously, yeah, 57. That's what I thought.
How could you induce a shove with 7?
It's sick. It's just plain sick. And Ben is shoving here. Yeah, he's shoving. Come on.
I guess he'd be left with about 150, Wilinofsky, if he gets the money all in here and loses.
That's the other. He would be left with a little less, actually, but still, yeah, he can comfortably, not comfortably, but he can play the flip and still, yeah, go for it. Yeah, of course. Okay, call. Yeah, that's the crying call. You can't 4-bet.
Well, he made up his mind before he made the play, and now we have a race. It'd be interesting to hear the different thoughts on that. I guess these guys all seem to really value the
table flow.
Yeah, and the opportunity also to survive here. But a big race for the chips, and this looks like a watery end for Vinky.
Yep.
I'm good on later streets.
Vinky Sinky.
I am good on later streets, he's saying. That's close. Wow.
Yeah, and the sink has now sunk for Vink, who's Vunk.
You have a good hand as you push me.
For Ben Wilinofsky, huge opportunity now. He's managed his chips well. He's won that all-important race, and Benger's going to have to reevaluate.
We've lost Andrew off the table. Talk to us about how you feel about your play here today.
Yeah, basically some marginal spots. So I will feel better maybe if I read the hands. Maybe I made some tight fold, but it happens sometimes.
It's a very tough table, and you have played against a lot of these people before, haven't you?
Yeah, especially the online guys. We met a lot of online, but it's fun.
We're sorry to see you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Or could be trying to get me to jam ace 3. Who knows?
This is the official bubble. It's the earliest we've ever seen the bubble in these global qualifiers, and yet maybe the toughest bubble we've seen so far.
Yeah. I was pretty sure it was going to be over before 5-10. I mean, unless something strange happens.
Benger and Wilinofsky will try and eat up the other two like stray potato chips on a plate.
Well, look, we'll see it right now. Let's see what happens with this small blind, and this is going to set the tone.
Well,
Yeah, the limp. All right. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, they're probably the strategy here is probably the one that they want to bully the short stacks and not hurt each other too much.
I think Wilinofsky opened this under the gun. I think.
Oh, you're right. Oh, you're right. Oh, wow. Yeah, you are right.
So his gear change took about the time it took for the turn and river to hit in the last hand. He'd already winded himself up. And Benger now has flopped a disguised ace.
Like that,
It's weird with these guys because that sort of check call, check call, check call thing gets very dangerous, right?
Yeah.
The pot can get too big.
Oh, yeah.
So what is Benger's plan here?
Well, Benger's lucky that Wilinofsky actually has some kind of showdown value, because if Ben has a queen jack here now, that gets tricky.
55K, and you want those chips, especially when not having them means your chief opponent right now would get them.
Goes check on the turn. Oh, that's such a sick river. Oh my. Oh my.
These cards are getting turned over, aren't they?
Yeah. Benger might go for the check call though. Although I see him value betting here. Yep.
And if it's a small bet, but the history between these two guys, if Wilinofsky raises, Benger.
There's not.
Well, we don't know, do we?
No, we don't know. We definitely don't know. But what checks the? I mean, bets the flop, checks the turn, raise the river. Well, I mean, there are of course there's sixes in Ben's hand sometimes, but what really? 5-6 suited, 6-7. I mean, you don't see a queen 6 off raised under the gun very often. So, if he had a set or 2 pair, he would probably bomb the turn 2. So I mean, what is he really representing here? He might have a misdraw that just decides to go bonkers on the river.
Benger's, he's trying to watch it crowding into his space. He's getting up all in his grill. The game made so much more interesting, or at least the hand, by the dynamics that whichever one of these players wins the pot is going to have a huge advantage for the remainder of the time at this table, which could be quite lengthy. You know, the guy that wins this pot is the guy that has such a big chance to get $1 million in chips.
Yes.
And by extension, a massive chance to be the one that goes to the...
Wilinofsky's posing here in body language is kind of, you know, he's trying to look weak, but that is pretty strong, you know. Hand in the mouth, sign of weakness, putting on the glasses, sign of weakness, but again, that makes it seem stronger in my opinion. It's tough. That's why I like, see?
I mean, you can only make that call if you have some kind of history and respect for your opponents.
Yes.
And the metagame there might have had something to do with Wilinofsky taking a chance to take the lead. Well, he's got the lead now. Benger's been beat back in his seat. He's out of position against Big Ben.
Hey, the guy runs good too, never hurts.
1, 2, 3.
And let's see who does all the raising now. One thing that this Premier League has shown, especially the qualification stages, when you have the list that have qualified here, is that this really appeals to the best players in the world, those who think they're the best players in the world. I mean, these guys are here because, not just because they're the best, but because they also applied themselves to this tournament.
Yep.
In the qualification stages.
Yes.
All of the best. And that just lifts the whole Premier League up by itself. What we're really, I think we're really seeing here is how much prestige the Premier League is going to have now and in the future. It's exciting.
It's very exciting. The quality levels of the players that are invited or qualified to the playoffs, it just keeps increasing and increasing. And the lineup of the actual Premier League is just, the main event is just, it's just sick. It's crazy. It's like the best of the best of the best. And it just keeps getting better and better. So I'm excited for things to come, Jesse.
Now, what level of cooler have we got here? Wilinofsky, the under the gun raise, Benger the 3-bet with the ace-king.
Yeah, that's...
It hasn't all gone in pre-flop, anyway.
No, well, it will never, because they're both really deep, and you know, just ace-10 is not strong enough. It's a half cooler, I guess. The flop is so dry. You know what, though? I know how Ben thinks. He's got the ace of spades. He's already thinking all sorts of backdoors.
39.
That's a big bet by Benger. That's a big bet.
A chance to exact revenge. And the metagame between these guys, is it, you know, what's happened in the couple hands at this table, or are they really thinking about all the hands they've played?
No, it's the hands they have in their hand log, in their hand histories. It's not.
Because TV hands are kind of special, aren't they?
Yes.
I
mean, sometimes you find yourself doing, making decisions that you would usually not. Like, you can see some people min-raise folding with like 14 big blinds because the TV table is just different and the dynamics are different and everything. So yeah,
and getting through here means a lot to both these guys. That's been exhibited already.
Yeah, I thought so. I knew that he had.
It's an interesting peel.
Yeah, he's got all sorts of backdoors in mind. Plus the fact that it's such a dry board, Benger might give up a lot of turns.
Is Benger?
He's check calling here.
Benger?
Yes, I think.
And that makes sense because
you induce the floats. There you go. I know. because you want to punish the floats. That's why.
Because you strong check.
Oh yes, yes. It's so strong. And now Ben should check behind too, because he can take it away on the river if he wants to. Yeah, he might take a stab right here.
If he takes a stab, he's sunk.
Yep.
He outthunk him.
He checks behind.
Yeah.
I got this thing figured out today. Yesterday I was a little bit.
You're on your A game.
Yeah.
For his ace 10 to be good, Benger has to have really spewed out.
But
really just completely spun out, lost the plot. Well, I mean, he is wearing a Blue Jays hat. But
What does he have? The 9-10, the 10-queen. Oh, that's sick. He's calling. That's so sick. The check on the turn did it there.
I mean, it feels like a bad call. But obviously, these guys...
I will never say that about Ben Wilinofsky, I'm telling you. Nice check, yeah. See, immediately Ben said nice check. That's what sold it.
He could beat the absolute zero.
You know what?
He could beat the guy that lost his marbles. One thing is for sure, it's 1-1 now between these two guys, and this fight is not over.
This is what's known as hugging it out.
Yep,
yeah, they're hugging it out.
There are friends in poker.
There are friends in poker, and you guys actually are friends in poker, and we can see it. You clearly know each other from the table. Comfortable playing against each other?
I think I'd feel more comfortable if I was on his left, but yeah, I mean, like I've played with Ben, I'd say a fair bit, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's been great.
There's a lot of banter out there as well. I think at one point you were telling him he shouldn't take his hoodie off because he wouldn't look right in his shirt. I mean, are you trying to get into his head here?
No, well, yeah, but not for the poker. I'm just trying to mess with him for the fun of it. It's Griff hasn't been on TV much, so I get to slip him some tips, and about half of them are right and half of them are wrong, and that way he just keeps him on his toes. I try to keep it light out there, trying to have some fun.
He's very balanced with his leveling there. It's good. Yeah, it's been fun.
Well, you guys continue to have fun out there. Thank you so much.
We'll try. Thanks a lot, Kara.
We'll be right back from the Montesino Casino in Vienna for the global qualifiers of the Premier League Poker 5. Welcome back. Remember the format. We started with 6, playing down to the 3, who will carry their chips forward to a final table for that seat in Premier League Poker 5. So 29, 23 big blinds respectively, Strasser and Lou. They're going to have trouble putting some chips in against the big stacks and without being willing to commit the rest.
Yeah. I mean, free bet folding for them is almost not an option anymore.
And as we say that, Strasser elects to take off a flop in position against the open of Wilinofsky.
Yeah, that is kind of odd.
A three-way pot in position with the 10-7 of hearts. Is it an odd hand for Strasser to do it with, or just an odd thing for him to decide to do this?
Both in a way. I mean, it's odd that he decided. It's not odd per se. It's just, I think what it is also, he's playing with his image a lot. I think like a board like this, he can easily represent.
Benger elected to just call with the pair in the big blind, and Wilinofsky's gonna fire in the continuation bet.
It's again a very dry flop. So I mean, if Strasser decides for a play, he might take it down or just he lets
Much
it go.
harder to do a play with one guy sitting behind you as well, isn't it?
Yes. Benger's not giving this up. Yeah, he is. Wow. Okay. A lot of respect there. It is a dry flop. I mean.
Ben Wilinofsky, that's a nice size pot.
Absolutely. As we said, he is going to step up his game. I mean, not his game, his gears. Like, he's going to open up a little bit. Pretty content right now. Was a nice budget takedown with King High. You know, right now, both her and Strasser have the perfect reshove stack. Because you open 220, you get free bet 250, 55. And you shove 250, you have a lot of fold equity still. So to reshove kind of light makes a lot of sense for them right now. If there's a level where risk are worth taking, the 5-10 definitely is it. Because at 7-15 and 10-20, then it kind of gets out of hand.
Get him.
Ben Wilinofsky, a little encouragement to Strasser. You sort him out so I don't have to. And he will sort him out.
Oh, wow. What a flop. And with only 25.
Benger's check behind.
Oh, wow.
Benger's check behind.
And that's unfortunate. Now he's going broke. That was a hell of a
Why do you check behind?
Because he's just great. And that's it. He doesn't like the flop. It hits Strasser's range so hard. He's got all sorts of...
But a lot of the ways it hits his range, he still has the best hand with ace-queen.
But you know what, Jesse? What is he flatting on the other side? Besides the low pairs, and at that point he won the low pair to bluff, he's got a lot of 10 jacks, queen jacks, queen king that still has a lot of outs, 8 9s, 9 kings. You know, it looks pretty for ace king. It's really not. And that is a horrible card for both, and it's gonna save a lot of money to Griffin Benger right there, because you know a deuce of clubs hits the river now.
It just goes check, check.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Strasser would have doubled up if he played it fast. And you know what? It's not even Strasser's fault at all. Actually, it's just Benger made a great check, and then cards fell his way. That flop is not a pretty flop for ace queen.
Florian Strasser, he hit the world and only won a country. Oh, nice time to pick up a little rush.
Yep. Let's see if he can get some action.
Raise 20.
Standard open. As of yet, Wilinofsky has steered clear of Benger in the 5-10 level, but
not anymore.
He's had enough. He has had enough.
So free raise 50.
And it's sort of the two things. Wilinofsky, it's not about what Benger has, it's about what in Wilinofsky's mind Benger would be raising, opening with here, that it's a wide range of hands.
And I think he's gonna bomb it right now. I mean, you just really hope he's got a hand to just stack him off.
Yeah, you want to give Wilinofsky the opportunity to get the chips in first, obviously, and to get a lot of chips in first.
You know, in some cases, slow playing kings might be an option. I don't think with 50 bigs, that's it. You know, Ben is stacking off with not a lot worse, but definitely, you know, queens, probably jacks, random ace king, 50 deep. And he might just go bonkers and try some fancy play.
Sure. I mean, Wilinofsky.
Make it small, probably like 110.
He obviously felt like Benger would open very, very wide. How often would he 4-bet?
That's so good, the 95K sizing. That's so good. It's like a click. This opens up all sorts of scenario now. Ben could make it like 155, 160 to fold, for as sick as it may sound. I told you. I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. There you go. Big blow up.
It'll be over.
Big blow up.
It's over.
It's over.
If the kings hold,
it's over.
Benger outstacks him. Wilinofsky is done.
Wow, big misstep here.
He ran into it.
Oh, wow.
There was reasons for what he did, Giovanni.
Yes.
But the end of the day, Benger's going to have 1.2 million. 7/8's only 18% here. Strasser and Xuan Lu could be through.
Oh, there's a 7 there.
There's a chance?
There is.
You're saying there's a chance?
There is. There is.
Benger, his mouth went dry.
He already feels sick.
His mouth went dry.
Oh, go! Oh!
No way. You're talking about 125K. Now, there's still outs the other way. The king, the 3, the 4. He doesn't feel it.
Oh, my God. This is so sick. Oh, my God. This is so sick.
That's not pretty.
No.
That's not pretty
No.
at all.
No.
Wow, Benger.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
And you can sympathize with him.
Oh, my.
He set it up.
Oh, my. Very nicely. I saw it coming, too. I know that.
Now, these are two guys who do these sort of things every day of their life.
All day long.
But this is big.
Yes.
This was the moment. This was getting into the Premier League big. And you can see on Benger's face how much this means to him. I'm guessing that if you asked Ben Wilinofsky, you know, he'd probably explain that you can't be making 3-bets with that hand unless you're willing. The plan happens when you put that first money in against a guy like Griffin Benger. That's the level these guys take it to. No consolation to Benger right now. And he decided to live here.
That's. I mean, he's the deepest stack of all, and with a hand like 7-9 of clubs, you kind of do want to take a flop and, you know, try to stack the guy off. Like, for example, this is an interesting flop. Strasser now has a second pair and a couple of backdoors. I mean, flush door, backdoor. And Ben has a flush draw himself. So I can see this going bet, no matter what. Or even check raise here.
1,000.
This is where he can apply pressure. This is really where, you know, usually you would maybe take a more conservative line. I can definitely see a raise here. Yep, there it goes.
And Strasser.
And now what do you do if you're Strasser? Because now you're second in chips, you're comfortable. Yeah, my 8s might be good, but do I want to risk a lot of chips? Because you know that Wilinofsky's going to bomb the turn. Yeah, I understand peeling one off. The decision is going to be made on the turn. Oh, 6 of clubs out there. It would be sick. Oh, that is still sick. Now Strasser has a flush draw too. And Ben has a gut shot. I can see a shove here.
It's such an interesting decision for Strasser. I mean, obviously he knows he's very live, but all those other things, the blinds rolling back, Benger on the short stack, the possibility that Wilinofsky is on air in such a way that he can't call the shove versus the possibility that he's got a queen and is going to just, you know, snap him off. How do you make the decision if you're Strasser?
Now you got to peel one off, unfortunately, in a way. The problem is...
Peel one off rather than shove.
Oh, yeah.
You feel like calling may be a better option here.
In this particular case, I have to say that for as gross as it may sound, peel one off here is the right decision.
is it
because
wrong? Is it wrong to expect Wilinofsky to have a lot of hands here that he cannot call the shove with?
In a way, it is, Jesse, because you know what? All his air with that jack just got a lot better.
He's gone all in. He's gone all in.
Oh, wow. That's gutsy. That's gutsy.
It's 200 and...
Because I think that a lot of Ben's air right now is 9, you know, on the flop might have been the 9 jack, the 10 jack, the 9-10, all sorts of middling gut shots. And flush draws too, but I mean flush draws got better.
Right, you're saying
here.
what is Strasser trying to get Wilinofsky to fold? Is he really trying to get him to fold a pair of jacks? You know,
I mean, if Wilinofsky had the jack 9 here or the jack 10, he might just fold.
He's got a lot more. Knows he's got a lot more equity with the 7-9 of clubs.
But again, mathematically, this is not a correct call. It's close though.
Wow.
He's got to.
I think Strasser might take this.
Yeah, you gotta. You know that you're a 30%er. It's pretty clean because now you got your flush draw outs that should be clean when he's shoving, and the 10 should also be clean.
Right, and Wilinofsky, I mean, it's semantics, but there's no way he thinks the 9's good. I mean, he doesn't think Strasser is capable of doing this with a pair of 8s and a flush draw.
If he folded, yes, he folded. Mathematically, it was not really correct. If he knew that his pair outs were good, then maybe it's a call, but this way. Nice hand, Strasser. Nice
the
hand.
oncoming power of the young Austrian.
Oh.
He's not to be denied. He seems to know the value of the second place. Look at this, 430 is a nice little stack.
Wow.
Join us after the break to find out which 3 players progress through to the second global qualifier final. This is Premier League poker from Montesino at the Gasometer Complex in Vienna. The last global qualifying heat is underway to determine who will win the last seat in the main event. Let's get back to the action.
Wilinofsky still over the 1 mil mark. Strasser nearly half as much. On down to the short stack Benger here with only 9 big blinds. And Benger has to take the big blind again.
It's pretty cruel. You get beat like that with kings. I still feel for the guy. It really hurts. Again with the flatting by Strasser. That's,
on the button against the big stack.
That's it. The guy's not scared to play, I'm telling you. It's a little odd that he's taking those passive lines too, I guess.
He's coming into his own. Well, he's in position the whole hand, I guess. And
he's trying to make a big one. Bubble, not scary at all. And you know, this kind of flop he might peel. Gut shot, ace high, it's very dry board. Wilinofsky will see bet 100% of the time here. And I see a float here.
31.
Sort of a bet on the larger side.
Yeah.
You know, and it does allow Wilinofsky to sort of, I guess, Giovanni, threaten that if it goes bet 3 barrel, then no matter what Strasser has, he's going to be at risk potentially for his stack.
Yep.
Or at least lots of it.
Oh, that's a nice one for Strasser here because Ben is gonna bomb this one, I think.
You know, if he bets 65 or 70, the next bet could basically be all in. So, you know, we can see how good the ace-4 is here. He's got Wilinofsky drawing dead.
Oh, it's not easy for Strasser. I mean, you really want to see a deuce
Strasser's going to have to make a decision. If the bet's big now, right, Strasser has to decide, what am I doing to the all-in on the river?
He's setting, if Wilinofsky bet, and I think he will, he's going to make a big to set up a river shove. Like, I think 70 here.
But 63.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
And Strasser needed to be thinking ahead about this before the flop. When he first made the call, it was only an ace-4. My guess is he's gutsy, and my guess is he's calling the river shove. Is that what you think? I mean, he's already seen what the guy's done with the 7-8.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
And what's Wilinofsky gonna do? What is he gonna do?
You know what? You know what? This give but he knows that's not good though. Even though Ben here has some showdown value, he knows his 8 is not good.
There's 243,000 in this pot. Strasser has 311, so you could go all in.
Yeah. Oh, if there's any bet here, it's a shove. I mean, yeah, if there's any kind of bet here, it's a shove.
And do you shove with your good hands as well as the bluff?
Oh, 100%. Otherwise, I'm totally face up. I'm shoving any set, any 2 pair. Yeah, for sure.
How confident is Wilinofsky that he's done it?
Yes.
He's done it.
Yes.
Wow, he bombed it. Wow, he bombed it.
Of course. That turn card is just perfect, and he doesn't know that Strasser has an ace. I mean, what if Strasser has king 10 here? I mean, and you know what?
What if Strasser has ace 4? I mean, how tough is it to call right now?
Yeah, king 10 here is just like ace 4. The ace 4 is just a bluff catcher as much as pretty much any pair is right now. That's so sick.
What's the meta game? I mean, that Wilinofsky, the Strasser thinking to himself, well, he knows I saw what he did. Would he do it again?
All sorts of mental game. Oh wow, he's passing. You know what though? You can't flat those hands and those flat. Wow, he's folding.
I don't think he is. I just don't think he is.
Wow! Nice call.
This kid's
nice,
good.
Nice call.
This kid is good.
Nice call. Nice call. And yes, you know what? You play that kind of hand, you peel that kind of flop. At that point, you gotta stick it in. There's just no getting out of it. And if you got cooler, you got cooler. But
he's surprised. Wilinofsky is shocked.
I think he didn't give the guy enough credit here. I think he just got a little overconfident there. I don't know. Strasser is no fear at all.
I mean, how's that for a statement about who belongs in the Premier League?
Wow.
Florian says, don't count me out.
Wow.
You don't think I can hero call? You think I'm scared? Holy Toledo. That was nearly as stunning as the other one.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I mean. Boy, the guy that nobody expected, Florian Strasser. Sitting there like a turtle on a lily pad. I mean.
Undeterred, Wilinofsky opens yet another pot, and Florian Strasser has another nice hand. Again, no need to free bet. He's going for the flat.
All right, I'm not gonna look because.
Oh, there you go.
But things are different now.
Yeah.
And Strasser's so deep that Wilinofsky knows he has to be a little more careful, correct?
Probably here goes bet, check, fold.
31.
No value in raising, I think, by Strasser. Just super dry board again. Yeah, spades are out there, but not really a factor. You want to keep the pot kind of small because, you know, you're calling this guy down, and that's a bad card for Wilinofsky in a way.
I mean, also, you know, because Strasser called a raise pre-flop.
Yeah,
it's not a deuce and a 4 as often as it's a king, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And Strasser already showed that, you know, if he's got 6s or 7s there, he's not mucking for another barrel. Maybe there would even be value in checking here by Strasser. I don't know. Yeah, quick fold. As it should be.
The chips have moved clockwise.
He's got to feel good, this kid right here, Florian Strasser. I mean, hell of a call. 925. Look, I mean, we're going to have a million chip leader anyways, just not the most likely one.
Not an easy call for Florian Strasser. He manned up. He manned up. And yeah, like you say, looks likely that we could get a million in chips.
He started up slow, but as expected, he kept.
Did start off slow.
75.
Benger's gone all in here. 5 big blinds. Does anybody get anything to call with? They're gonna be calling quite light here.
Oh, that's not light. That's
It certainly isn't. No, it certainly isn't.
And now, he was thinking about it with the ace 4.
Well, is she thinking, what can I do if I shove here? Am I ahead of?
Nah,
Yes.
it's a fold. That's definitely a fold.
Benger, well, this has a lot. He's thinking this has a lot of symmetry.
Yep. He deserves an ace here.
I
Strasser's got plenty chips. I'm rooting for the guy now. That hand was just so brutal. Doesn't look like it though.
Without the ace, we're gonna have reached our final 3, and there'll be a 1 million plus chip stack in Strasser.
Oh!
Such a
That's
boring
fair.
card.
That's fair. That's just fair. That's just fair.
It allows this to continue.
Yeah, and just in case, I mean, this is just fair. There's a lot of karma kind of fairness in this Premier League, Jesse. What do you think?
I think we all know Xuan's a liar.
Well, I hate fair.
Fair enough.
Kings aren't winning today, buddy. You should have known.
But yeah, I mean, for Griffin Benger, it's very easy to think that he's not put a foot wrong tonight.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, poker's funny like that.
You know what would have beaten my hand when I had the Kings there? 7-8 was fun.
These heats of the global qualifiers for the Premier League Poker 5 have all been filled with so many twists and turns. Just when you think we've seen the end, and it's happened, what, 3 times already in this heat B alone.
How much is it?
Now, Benger just under 10 big blinds. What's his range, says Wilinofsky, and is the King 10 ahead of it? My guess is this is pretty marginal. Or
It's probably a call.
it's probably you'd lean pretty marginal, but on the side of a call.
It's close. It's really close. Really, really close. But I mean, come on, like with 9 big blinds from the button. Yeah. Did he call? No. From 9 big blinds from the button, Benger is shoving worse than King 10 for sure.
Right.
Any Broadway, he's shoving again. So
Wilinofsky all in on top, and Benger's in a great spot. Not that helped him before, but the double-double,
oh yeah,
300K now in the pot. This would put the cat among the pigeons if the ace-9 can hold. If not, we've reached our final 3.
I really want to win this
You're
one.
pre-signing?
I really want to win this one. I'll be honest with you. I don't usually care too much. I really want to win this one.
oh come on.
You should have only said it once.
That's just wrong.
One time.
He's calling for the one time. He's calling for that. Usually
you're
works.
getting it.
That usually works. That usually works. I'm just saying. I'm really pulling for a diamond here. Oh, that's so cruel.
Hey, buddy. Yep. You play good. I don't.
Griffin,
You play good, I don't.
Griffin Benger has met his nemesis, and it's Ben Wilinofsky, who just outdid him at every turn.
Unfortunately, we say goodbye to you on the bubble here for the final. Talk to us about how your experience was here, though. Too short, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was pretty happy with the way things were going, and I was excited to get to the next round, but it obviously didn't go my way. I mean, it's a bit of a heartbreaking situation, but the tears have dried, and I'll live to fight another day.
We have a final to look forward to, and it's going to be a final filled with fun. These 3 players going to join the likes of Nietzsche, Wisner, and of course Michael Toms, the Cinderella story, for that final seat in the Premier League.
Through to the global qualifier final. I'm sure not with the stack that you were hoping for, though. Talk to me about your experience here at the table.
It was a lot of fun. Some really interesting things happened with between Ben and Griffin. I feel really bad for Griffin, but it happens. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Going through with 743,000 in chips to the global qualifier final puts you in pretty good standings. How are you feeling about the final?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I have a good handle on the rest of the players at the table. I have a lot of chips to work with. So I feel like I'm capable of, if I catch a couple cards at the right times, taking this thing down.
The Global Qualifier Event 1 final is now complete. Join us next time to find out which player goes through to the Party Poker Premier League main event.
Kevin, you're disgusting.
My name's not Kevin.
I'm playing bad. That's why I'm mad.
It's really great for poker that this table is like half women.
Wilinofsky, champion of the ladies.
I got you. Good luck. Kind of get slow out there, I think.
I'm up 1,000 chips.
I wish I was up 1,000 chips.
Moving in the right direction.
I don't want to get kissy when I'm mad.